All right, everybody, I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA, and this is my update for Wednesday, March 3rd. I mentioned yesterday that Joe Biden met with some Senate Democrats to try to get them on board with the upcoming relief bill and potentially negotiate some of the points that they're concerned about. The Hill reported today that they found a new middle ground on the stimulus checks, which may make this package more palatable to the moderate wing of the Democratic Party, headed by Joe Manchin. Now, most people who were going to receive stimulus checks, they won't be affected by this. They're sticking to that original plan of $1,400 payments. The income limit to receive the full $1,400 check is still $75,000 for single filers, $150,000 for joint filers. Instead, they want to make the payments more targeted by phasing them out more quickly for those above those income limits. The bill that was passed in the House had a more gradual phase out from $75,000 to $100,000 for single filers and $150,000 to $200,000 for married filing jointly. The Senate bill will reportedly cut those upper limits down to $80,000 or $160,000. So this is only going to affect people who are in that middle ground. For example, if you were a single filer with no dependents with an income of $90K a year, under the House plan, you would have received a check for $560, but with the new Senate bill, you would be cut off entirely from a stimulus check. I made a little spreadsheet, as you can see here. Link is in the description below to the spreadsheet, doing this math for you so you can compare the House and the Senate versions. To update the spreadsheet yourself, all you have to do is either download the spreadsheet to your computer or make a copy of it to your own Google Drive. You put the income amounts in row 6 and the number of dependents in row 11, and in row 16, the stimulus payment will be calculated under both the House version and the Senate version of this bill. This change would remove eligibility for around 16 million Americans, and it would decrease the overall cost of the bill by something like $15 to $20 billion. So in the grand scheme of a $1.9 trillion package, it's only around 1% of the total price tag, but this is critical for anyone who falls in that space between 80K and 100K, or between 160K and 200K as a joint filer, because they won't receive a payment at all now under this plan. Honestly, I think this is ridiculous. In $1.9 trillion, they had to take money out of the pockets of the people for this thing, right? Just to save $15 to $20 billion. I mean, frankly, I think that's ridiculous. There's so much in this bill. They couldn't have, let the single filer who makes $80,000 get a stimulus check. So I'm not going to go on and on about that, but it's just ridiculous that in this thick bill, they took money out of the pockets of the people to save a few bucks. Anyway, there are also some rumors that moderate Democrats wanted to decrease the unemployment boost from the $400 a week in the House bill to $300. Looks like Senate will be sticking to $400 a week with payments going out through August. Again, there's still some time for the specifics to change, but right now, this looks like the direction they're headed. Jake Sherman reported this morning, or it's actually this afternoon in Washington, that Chuck Schumer wants to consider the relief bill as early as tonight. So they will be moving forward with this as soon as possible. Senator Joe Manchin, who, as you know, is at the center of these negotiations, quickly came out in support of these new changes to take money out of the pockets of the people and said it's going to be a good package. It's going to help an awful lot of people, and it's targeted. The main thing is targeted to get to people in need. There is, of course, still time for senators to propose amendments during the upcoming vote-a-rama. Bernie Sanders has already committed to putting the $15 minimum wage to a vote, but overall it looks like the final bill is starting to take a bit of shape, and getting Manchin on board is obviously a big step forward. Now, I've been assuming this would be a party line vote, that Schumer would need to get support from all 48 Democrats and both independents. But Politico reported today that Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski could possibly be open to voting in favor of the $1.9 trillion package. She told an interviewer, "I can't stand that after any of this stuff we moved to last year, that we are considering $1.9 trillion, much of which is not specifically focused on COVID relief. But I'm coming from a state where people are saying we need some help, Lisa." So, one Republican senator might not seem like much, but she could end up playing a pivotal role here since the Senate is so evenly split. Let's say Kyrsten Sinema pulls her support for some reason. Then a single Republican could end up making the difference between a 49-51 vote and a 50-50 vote, where obviously Vice President Harris can break the tie. Obviously, it's too early to speculate on those outcomes, but even the possibility of a Republican vote could change the calculus for Chuck Schumer as he tries to get this bill through the chamber. Regarding lowering the stimulus check phase-out amounts, there's already been some pushback from the left wing of the party, who sees this as an unnecessary compromise. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, "I don't understand the political or economic wisdom in allowing Trump to give more people relief checks than a Democratic administration. People went far too long without relief last year. She also pointed out that even though the phase-out limits might seem high to some, people who live in urban areas are dealing with a much higher cost of living, and something like an $80,000 income may not be as lavish as it sounds to someone in a lower cost of living area, particularly with people being affected by the pandemic. Because here's the deal, folks. The moderates right now are a much greater threat to this bill than the progressives are. Joe Manchin, I imagine, would have no problem being the guy holding up the relief bill and stimulus checks from passing if he doesn't like it. And that wouldn't threaten his image to his constituents in the deep red state of West Virginia. But if a progressive were to hold up stimulus checks, right? If a progressive was someone holding this up, that's a disaster for progressive's image. That's why Sanders relented last year. Biden knows this, Schumer knows this, Pelosi knows this, and that's why we're seeing these things happen, quite frankly. All right, last story for today. The Senate parliamentarian has mostly been in the news for her decision on the minimum wage provision of the relief bill, but she ruled this morning against provisions in the relief bill for $100 million in funding for Bay Area rapid transit around San Francisco, along with $1.5 million for the Seaway International Bridge that connects the U.S. and Canada from New York to Ontario. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley tweeted, "Parliamentarian rules against Pelosi tunnel earmark. It's a small victory with a lot more money still in the bill, not COVID related. But as a matter of common sense, the Silicon Valley tunnel should be out. Because what does this new pilot project have to do with a pandemic? Obviously, that's not going to affect as many people as unemployment benefits or a minimum wage increase. But it does change the makeup of the bill, and Democrats will have a chance to repurpose that funding for other priorities if they want to. As always, I'll be back tomorrow and every day this week to update you with any changes on that front or in any other areas of the negotiations. So thank you so much for watching to the end, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.